The decision to take the new action and set the big goal is easy. The game-shifting moment is when you are tested with the old pattern running, because that old pattern is saying, you used to operate this way. Are you sure you want to go in that direction? Welcome to the Do the Impossible podcast. I'm Jason Drees with Jason Drees Coaching. And just a quick reminder, go to MondayMindsetReset.com, MondayMindsetReset.com, MondayMindsetReset.com. Join me every Monday at 10 a.m. Central for 20 minutes of mindset alignment. Why did I say that 3 times? Because like those car commercials, remember that? How much stuff like sticks in your brain? As I started to literally record this podcast, my brain was like, say it 3 times. Like, really? Say it 3 times? But I remember this time I was in the car and this guy, there's this radio ad, and he just started to repeat it over and over again. And by the end of that, the number was in my head. It was kind of funny. And which is actually kind of relevant, because right now today, I was thinking about talking about authenticity. I was thinking about talking about limiting beliefs. And I've been having this resistance start to come up and this doubt. And this doubt came up from a momentary experience, because I had been recording podcast episodes with this level of flow that was exciting, and I hit record and I just went. So I had this pattern that was running of success. This success pattern was running, and it was fun, and I was dialed in. And then I had an experience yesterday where it didn't work. It was a contradictory experience. And then I'm like, wait a second, it's not working. Oh no, I lost flow. Because basically I tried to go into flow in my Mindset Academy call, and it didn't unfold that way. It actually unfolded radically different, like much differently. So my brain is firing off these things from the past saying, well, you're supposed to do it this way. And because that pattern has changed, that means it's not working anymore. Do you ever run into that? Have you ever got on a win, on a streak, and things are going your way? Then all of a sudden you get the next step is out of step and doesn't work? What do you do at that moment? Do you scream, oh my God, it's not working? That's what my brain did in this situation. And just because it didn't work doesn't mean it's not going to, right? But that was the reaction I've had. So what reaction do you have when things are going your way? And then something happened that doesn't go your way. And we can actually say that a lot of us are going through that right now in the world, because the current market conditions, the current economy is different. Things are compressed. People are moving slower. Some people are panicking. Some people are fine. So there's a lot of interesting, unpredictable change right now. So the amount of unknown we're living with right now is greater because there's a lot of fear going around. But what if this next step that appears like your win streak is over, is actually not a change in the direction, but simply a temporary anomaly to simply give you the guidance to double down on what you believe in the path you're on? Because as we start tracking to what we want in life, almost everybody listening to this, I can guarantee you that are listening to this right now, you're trying to do more than you are and be more than you are, and have more than you have now. And that includes new patterns, new actions, new results. As you start growing, have you ever noticed that you start running a new pattern, or you make a decision, and then as soon as you make a decision, like, okay, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to wake up every day or at 5 a.m. and run. And the first day, your alarm goes off, you wake up at 5 o'clock, you get up to run, like, I'm going to do this, and then the old pattern goes, well, you could just snooze. That old pattern, what do you do with that old pattern? Because you can think that it didn't work. The change I created didn't work because the pattern isn't permanent. You can think that. But that's actually not true. Like, what actually happened is you were on a trajectory that was moving past your normal standard trajectory. Like, you were going this direction, and then it's like, boom, wait a second. Like, it's a varying from the norm. So you're literally moving outside of your pattern, outside of your comfort zone, and your subconscious mind and your pattern is saying, wait a second, you're starting to move beyond your normal pattern. In that moment is when the permanent change takes place. That moment, the moment when The old pattern tests you. That's the challenge. That's actually the breakthrough moment, not the decision to take the new action. The decision to take the new action and set the big goal is easy. The game shifting moment is when you are tested with the old pattern running, because that old pattern is saying, you used to operate this way. Are you sure you want to go in that direction? It's what you do in that moment that makes the difference. Because in that moment, if you push through, continue forward with the new pattern will become your new default. But if you play into that reaction response of that old pattern running and say, oh my God, it didn't work, you're going to fall backward into that old pattern again. How many times have you started and had to start over? Wasn't there that, like, I remember it stood out to me. Like, there was that one Shia LaBeouf video where he was like in front of that green screen giving the motivational speech, and he's like, do it. And one thing he said was, I forget what he said, but he said something like, if you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. Stop quitting. So how many times are you starting over? Are you starting over? What are you starting over on right now? I guarantee there's probably something in your life you're starting over. Because every time you start over, it's because you gave up on the last attempt. Now, let's just notice where we may be starting over. Let's not go into self-judgment. Let's just move to a place of alignment where I understand this is an ongoing pattern, an ongoing process, an ongoing life. Like, I'm walking down this road. I'm going to continue walking this road. And what if pausing on that path isn't necessarily starting over? What if you're just continuing the old path? Because it's the point of view, the frame the mind operates from that has the impact. And if you view every change in your directory, in your path, as starting over, you're going to feel like you're a beginner forever, and it's going to whack your confidence. The fact of the matter is, you are always continuing the path you've been on. You are walking on this path. And this path you may walk, and there are times you may run on this path, and there's times you may fall on this path, and there's times you may take a break at a scenic viewpoint for a day, a week, a month, or a year. But you are on a path of growth and expansion. When you make your choices to change your life situation, your work situations, your habits, your body, when you make the decision to change and you get tested on that change, what do? What do you normally do? I have patterns in my life, I think we all do, where we think that the effort required to make the permanent change is actually in the decision. And the decision is part of it, right? Like, we're going from point A to point B, right? Deciding to walk the path is a very important piece. But what if we shifted our viewpoint on that? What if we started to think about it differently? What if we started to realize that the biggest, most important part of the process isn't the decision? It's when we're challenged on that decision. If we moved into the point of view where being challenged on our decision after we make it is the most difficult part of the process or the most important part of the process, does that change your ability to make the decision in the first place? Because if I think about making commitments to something new, a lot of times there's the commitment of like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. And then there's the intestinal fortitude and guts and required to hold that path. And then there's the questioning if I'm on that path or am I varying from the path? And sometimes the analysis of the path literally kicks you off the path. So if I start to think about this new direction, hey, I'm going to start going this new way. I'm going to start running, making more money, changing my relationship, being a more present dad or husband, father, wife, whatever. The decision is a two-part process. Number one, I'm going to make the decision to go in this direction. Number two, I'm prepared for when life challenges me. Because when life challenges that decision, that's the exact moment where permanent change takes place. So if we know that, like, doesn't that make sense? When the old pattern doesn't run anymore, the change has taken place. Think about that for a second. How does that change your approach to success? How much emotion do you have about the process? Do you have a lot of emotion about the starting process? Do you have thoughts and energy around making it permanent? Do you spend time thinking about, is this permanent? What do I need to do to make this permanent? And self-judging yourself. Because literally the self-judgment about your process is a belief, which is also a frame, right? It's a point of view. The reason most people don't change instantaneously is because they don't believe they can, because they have past references that contradict immediate change. Although at the same time, everyone on this planet has had a time in their life where something has happened and they immediately permanently changed in that moment. Now, we don't usually operate that way, and there are some decision-making processes and some reference points and things, and you can dive into that on why that change happened in that instantaneous way. But the easier way to create change is to move into a mindset where change is permanent, is to move into a mindset where change doesn't require additional work or effort to integrate. Now, you may say you don't believe that, or you want to believe it, but you haven't experienced it, but that doesn't matter. It's all beliefs. Your entire perception of reality is based on your beliefs about reality. Your entire perception, your experience, you have beliefs about listening to me on a podcast. You have beliefs about success. You have beliefs about change. You have beliefs about how success works for you compared to other people, because you know other people you're better than other people at some things, and some things you're not as good at and other people are better. Those are all beliefs. I used to tell myself this story: I'm not good with detail. I'm not good with systems. I'm not good with time management. I'm not good with structure. And I used to live in that space of constant chaos. And I realized it's not true. It's a simple fabrication based on a past reference. You can change all of that. You can change all of your points of view, all of your ideas, all of your beliefs. You have the ability to change that. Most people just don't know how. How do you change your beliefs? Really simple. One word: coaching. Yes, coaching. Coaching, yes. I'm a coach. What do I do professionally? I change people's beliefs. I change their mindset. I change their frequency, their frame, by getting them into alignment with what they want. Because success is far more about removing resistance to it occurring than creating the environment where it happens or creating the action to make it happen. It's more about removing the resistance to it happening. So those beliefs are running, those perspectives are running. So if you are not changing, or if you are repeating patterns, you want to start looking at your beliefs about the process, not the process. Because if, let's say, you're trying to find a new job and it's not working, you may start looking into your beliefs around this particular job and this income and this time. But what really needs to be looked at is your overall perspective around income in general, your beliefs around general about the system. Because once you start focusing on beliefs about getting a job, that's just one piece. You're in that little channel. If you start to think bigger, what do you believe about success? What do you believe about communicating with people? Do you believe that you're great at communicating with people? Do you believe you're bad at communicating with people? Do you believe things go your way? Do you believe things don't go your way? Because all of those beliefs are running when you're looking for a job. Does that make sense? Like, there was a big shift in my coaching that occurred over the past few years when I stopped focusing on results and I started focus on the reality I'm operating from. The reality I'm operating from, I'm referring to the mindset you're operating from, the frame you're operating from. You have control over that. Because if you don't shift your mindset, if you don't shift your beliefs, if you don't shift the frame you're operating from, you will not get the result. There's no amount of action you can take that will hit a result when you are in misalignment at your mindset level. It will not work, does not work. You have to shift your environment. You are so much more capable than you are right now. Whatever level you're operating at, you're only starting to touch your potential. The way you start to move into that level is a level of ownership of your life by saying, I take full ownership of my life and everything in it. Like that, I say that with my clients. I say it out loud myself. I have my clients say it because it puts us in ownership. It's very common and very easy to be a victim, to a situation, a victim to reality. Now, we are always, as human beings, going to have reactions to things, but being a victim is a choice. You may be in reaction and in a victim state. How long you stay there is up to you. Because if you are a victim, you are the result of circumstance and you are unable to change anything. If you are in ownership and control, that's when change starts happening. That's when you start taking ownership of your beliefs, ownership of your mindset, ownership of your success, ownership of your path. Does that make sense? That's why coaching is so powerful. And whether I'm coaching people or talking about coaching as I'm recording a podcast episode, or I'm working by myself, because I'm never not coaching myself. I'm always looking and growing and expanding. So that's what coaching is. Coaching is looking at yourself from another point of view so you can become more. It's so simple. Who wouldn't want to coach? Right? Coaching is a powerful tool. So, are you starting to understand how to create permanent, lasting change? The way to create permanent, lasting change comes from your mental environment. It comes from being in a state of belief and perspective and awareness, or what I call your frame, where permanent change is a natural occurring thing in your life, where you live your life present in this moment with, hey, here I am, I'm taking action. Oh, I want to change direction. Boom. Just like driving a car down the road. When you're driving a car down the road and you take a right turn, do you feel bad about not going left? No. What prevents that immediate release of the old pattern is your attachment to it, your mindset, and your beliefs about it. So the way that you move into a world of immediate transformation is you move into a frame of moving and a frame of immediate growth and transformation. How do you do that? Simply get a sense of the version of you that does. Like literally, it's that simple. But I'm not going to talk about frame shifting now. I talked about that in another episode. But the first thing you want to start thinking about is not necessarily what you need to do. You want to think about how you operate within your life, how you handle growth, how you handle resistance, how you handle change. Because those are the clues of misalignment to moving yourself into alignment with faster growth, faster change, faster success. I've done tons and tons of work over a decade of intense personal growth. And what that has enabled me to do is that it doesn't stop life from occurring. It doesn't stop things in life from happening that I don't want. But what it happens is when I get knocked over, I right myself much faster than ever before. So lean into your process, lean into the work. And right now with this episode today, the thing you want to really focus on is that when you make a decision, look for the challenge that comes up in the old pattern. Look for the challenge when that old pattern starts to run again. And when you see that old pattern, smile. Because you know that all you have to do is continue the new pattern through that moment and the old pattern is gone. Boom. That's how you create immediate change. That's how you create life on your terms. That's how you play at the level of unlimited. That's what I do. You want to play at my level? Follow me more. You want to do what we do? You want some help? Sign up for coaching. Book an intro call. Take some action now. And notice whatever resistance comes up as you start taking that new direction, the new path, the new decision. That is actually part of the process. That resistance is not for you to shut down. It's the clues of misalignment for you to work through. So walk that path, look for the challenge, and watch your life grow and transform. I'm Jason with Jason Drees Coaching. Thank you for watching the Do the Impossible podcast. Join me every Monday at 10 a.m. Central for 20 minutes of mindset alignment. You can sign up at MondayMindsetReset.com. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.